Hey everyone! So, if you've spent any time at all writing shell scripts, you've definitely run into the while loop. But what about its slightly mysterious sibling, the until loop? It's an incredibly useful tool that can make some scripts a lot cleaner and way more logical. So, let's spend a few minutes and really dig into how it works and, more importantly, when you should actually use it.
So what's the big secret here? Honestly, there isn't one. The until loop is literally the opposite of a while loop. You see, a while loop keeps running as long as its condition is true. The until loop, it runs as long as its condition is false. It's built to keep going until something finally becomes true, which, as you'll see, is perfect for all sorts of waiting scenarios.
Okay, let's get just a little bit formal for a second. The until loop is what we call a control flow statement. It executes a block of commands again and again and again. But here's the key. It only stops once its condition finally flips to true. Just think of it like this. Keep doing this stuff until this other thing happens. It's right there in the name. All right, enough talk. Let's see this thing in action with a super simple example. This little script here is just designed to count from 1 to 5. You can see the code on the left and what it spits out on the right. It looks pretty simple, but let's quickly walk through the logic to see exactly how we get that output. Okay, here's the play-by-play. First up, we create a variable, our counter I, and set it to 1. Then the loop asks the big question, is I greater than 5? Well, 1 is not greater than 5, so the condition is false, and the loop runs. It prints count 1, and then bumps I up by 1. This whole cycle repeats until I eventually becomes 6. At that moment, the condition is 6 greater than 5 becomes true, and bam, the loop terminates. Job done. Now, what if you need to get out early? What if you don't want to wait for that main condition to become true? Well, just like other loops in Bash, you have total control. The break statement is basically your emergency exit, letting you bail out of a loop whenever you decide. Okay, so take a look at this script. The main condition says we should keep looping until our counter is greater than 10. But if you look at the output, it clearly stops at 5. What's going on? Well, that is the break statement in action, giving us a way to jump out of the loop based on a completely different condition. So how did that actually work? It's pretty clever. Inside our main loop, we've snuck in a little if statement. And with every single pass, it asks a simple question. Is I equal to 6 yet? For the numbers 1 through 5, the answer is no. So it just prints the value and moves on. But the second I hit 6, that if condition is met, the break command runs and the loop is over. Instantly. We never even get close to 10. But hey, what if you don't want to exit the entire loop? What if you just want to skip a turn? Well, for that, we've got the continue statement. It tells the loop to just stop what it's doing for the current cycle and jump straight ahead to the next one. Let's look at continue in practice. This script is supposed to count up to 5, but check out the output. Something's missing, right? It prints 1, then 2, and then jumps right over 3, straight to 4. That's not a mistake. That's the continue statement telling our script to skip that specific iteration. So how'd that happen? You guessed it. It's another if statement. As the loop runs, it checks if our counter I is equal to 3. For 1 and 2, the check fails, so it prints the number. But as soon as I is equal to 3, the if condition is true. The continue command gets triggered, and that tells the script, hey, skip everything else below this point and just go right back to the top for the next round. It completely bypasses the echo command, but only for that one time. Okay, these examples are great for getting the hang of the mechanics. But let's be real. You're probably asking the most important question right now. When am I actually going to use this? When is an until loop the right tool for a real job? And that's a fantastic question. Let's think about a super common task for a system administrator. Imagine your server's disk is getting dangerously full. You need to run a script to clean up old junk, but you want that script to keep running until the disk usage is safely back below a certain level. This is the absolute perfect scenario for an until loop. We want to do something until a condition is met. And here's what a script like that could look like. I know, it might seem a bit more complicated at first, but the real engine driving this whole thing is our good old until loop. Its entire job is to keep checking the disk space, run a cleanup if it's too high, and then just wait and repeat that cycle until the problem is solved. Let's break this down step by step. First, we set our line in the sand. Our threshold is 70%. Then, the script checks the current disk usage. Now the main event,
the until loop kicks in. It will keep running as long as the disk usage is not less than our 70% threshold. And inside the loop, it does its work. It cleans files, then it waits a bit, and then it starts the check all over again. It's this check, act, wait cycle that makes the until loop so incredibly valuable. And finally, once the cleanup has worked its magic and the disk usage drops below 70%, the loop's condition, is disk usage less than the threshold, finally becomes true. The loop stops, and the script prints out this beautiful, satisfying success message, letting you know the job is done and everything's back to normal. So let's just do a super quick recap. What are the main things you need to remember? First, the syntax. Until, condition, do, done. Easy enough. Second, and this is the big one, it runs while the condition is false and stops when it becomes true. Third, you've always got break and continue in your back pocket for more precise control. And finally, its sweet spot is for any task that involves monitoring or waiting. So now you have this powerful until loop in your scripting toolkit, and it really opens up a lot of new ways to automate things. Just think about all those little tasks where you're just waiting for a file to show up, waiting for a server to respond, waiting for a process to finish. Now you have the perfect tool for exactly that job. So the only question left is, what will you automate next?